All right, welcome back, everyone. So, the next topic that we're going to cover is design for WatchKit. But before I do that, I wanted to kind of go over some of the resources that we have available. So, Happy.watch is the website that is community focused, and the goal is to provide resources for anyone who wants to build apps for the watch. We've been doing meetups for about 6 months now, and we've been learning tools like Swift and Facebook's Origami. And so you'll find all the previous notes, videos, slides, all that sort of stuff as blog posts here. You can see we just had an event this past Monday called Eye on WatchKit that was hosted at Coursera down in the Valley. So you can watch the full video from that there. We also have some great downloads available. We've got Swift playgrounds that you can learn Swift with, as well as the Apple Watch simulator. And so the Apple Watch simulator is something that we made before we knew for sure if WatchKit was going to come out. And what it is it shows you a view that is inside of the watch hardware, and you program for it just like you would for an iOS app. So if there's something that you can't do with WatchKit, but you still want to do it for the hackathon, you can use this and accomplish that. I would recommend against doing that, because if you do something like this, then you probably won't be able to release an app like this for at least a year. But if you have this great idea and you want to build it anyway, you can use this to build it. We also have an Apple Watch screen PSD, so if you want to kind of show several different screens up on, say, a presentation, you can use this Photoshop document and you can put your screens in there. So some of the latest 2 blog posts are pretty important as well. I guess the internet's going slow now. Yeah. Yes, it's going to start talking. So I have developing for the WatchKit as well as user experience design, and I'll open both of those up. Developing for the WatchKit has lots of great tips. So kind of all the questions that I've seen pop up on Twitter or in the Apple developer forums that people want answers to, I compiled them into this post, and so you can learn all of the kind of wisdom that's out there right now about WatchKit. So you can see they're in like kind of tweetable, shareable things. So we've got apps, glances, notifications, code and languages. By the way, you can code in both Swift and Objective-C. All the design tips and API capabilities. And if you come up with any great tip that you think people need to know about, just tell me and I'll get it up here. For user experience design, we've got Apple's official design guidelines and the design resources. They were awesome, and they provided Photoshop PSDs for download that provide the different size screens for the big watch and the small watch, and then also the interface controls and things like help on color and stroke width and all of those. So, as well as the new font, which it's named San Francisco, and that's what you use for designing for the watch. We've also got some great resources in both Sketch and Photoshop PSD. That's what you see up here in the top. That you can make all kinds of interface elements for. And if you're a designer, that would be a great resource to mock up screens. I would love to see some designers presenting, their screen ideas, as well as perhaps even animation. Origami 1.4 is a tool from Facebook, and it allows you to kind of use visual programming and make animations. So you can make Apple Watch animations in Origami and show how you anticipate the app would work. And finally, on Happy Watch, we have a bunch of great app ideas. And those are compiled from all of our meetups that we've been going to. Google had an Android Wear hackathon that I went to and listened to what they were doing. 26 teams presented ideas there and all they had was basic notifications. So if you're worried that the Apple WatchKit is limited, don't worry, because the very first version of Android Wear was super limited and people still made awesome things with it. So that's at happy.watch/app-ideas, and there's tons that you can pull from there. You can even see what the big brands are up to. So when Apple announced WatchKit, they announced that American Airlines, Citymapper, Pinterest, BMW, Major League Baseball, Honeywell, Lutron, Nike, Twitter, Facebook, and more. We're going to have apps ready when the watch launches. And EA in particular has some really cool ideas about what they want to do with some of their games and how they'll tie into both the phone games and the console games. So that's it for resources. Any questions on resources? Oh, I actually have a couple more resources. Natasha, one of our great speakers this evening, her blog is natashatherobot.com. And she has been putting up some walkthroughs as she's been learning how to develop for the watch. And so she's got like a building a hello world app there. And so the internet's being slow, but if that comes up, then you'll see it. And if you wanted to kind of practice tonight, that would be a great kind of walkthrough to take. As well, Ray Winderlich, who makes a lot of great iPhone tutorials, has some good posts up there, even a video walkthrough for the watch. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Apple's discussion forum for WatchKit on their developer site is really good, and there's a lot of Apple engineers on there. Well, actually, I don't know if they're engineers, but they have an Apple on there. Anyway, there's a lot of Apple employees on there answering questions, definitively answering some things like saying, no, you can't do this, no, you can't do that. You know, finding things to say, oh, that looks like a radar, please post it. That looks like a phone, please post it. So I've gotten a lot of good responses on there already in just a few days. So I really encourage you to check that one out. The Apple WatchKit forum on their developer site.
Yeah, so this is on the Developing for WatchKit Happy Watch post, and you see that I've got a kind of a link there that goes to it, and they've answered questions on sensors, scrolling, watch faces, sound, in-app purchase, and NS user defaults. So if you have any questions, then that's a great place to go. You do have to sign in with your Apple developer account, so if you don't have Apple developer account, you have to get one first. All right, and this is Natasha's website, and you can see that she's got several WatchKit posts here that you can walk through. And let me just also put up Ray Winderlich really quick. Has anybody taken a WatchKit tutorial yet? All right, we've got a few. It's really new. We've all been teaching ourselves as we've been going along. And on that note, I want to mention we're going to have both Swift mentors and design mentors available to help you tomorrow. They are mainly part of the Capital One team. So Capital One has generously provided some of their team members to come and help out. All right, so let's go through some design. So this is the Watch app screen, and actually I need my notes. So. All right, so this is the Apple Watch home screen, and in going through the human interface guidelines that Apple's provided, excuse me. They provided some way of thinking about how you should go about designing watch apps. The first one is that the Apple Watch is personal, so it's designed to be worn. And that means that you raise your wrist and you'll show your time and alerts. And that is a very lightweight interaction. You want to just have a quick look at what's going on. If the interaction is measured for a phone app in minutes, it's measured in seconds on the watch. So you have to make sure that what you're designing can really be used in seconds. It's going to be holistic. Test, test. Battery's out.
Hello? I don't know.
Oh, it's done back. No battery too.
Oh.
Apparently the last time this happened, they took the battery out and put it back in the box. Didn't tell them. Well, it's a different screencast.
Yeah.
Oh. Wow. Yeah.
Action.
Everybody, thank you, Lindsay.
All right. So the Apple Watch is holistic, and what that means is that, this is Apple fancy talk, but it's blurring the boundaries between the physical object and the software that you're interacting with. And they've done that in a few ways. The digital crown provides like a feel that is interacting with the software in real time. So when you, say, zoom in on a map and you scroll the digital crown, then the map responds in real time. The Taptic engine provides the vibrations that you feel, and it feels like a touch on the wrist. So it's not like the vibration of the phone. It's much more precise, much more personal. Force touch allows you to press down hard on your watch and bring up a contextual menu. And so that's kind of a new interaction pattern that's being able to happen because of the new hardware that they're putting into the watch. And the physical display, if any of you have gotten the new iPhone 6 or iPhone 6 Plus, you know that the display kind of curves around, so it really feels like one solid object instead of pieces that are put together. And the watch is going to continue that trend and be even more one slab that's together. So what kind of apps can you build? Well, you choose which kind you want when you first start, and you can have a hierarchical app or a page-based app. A hierarchical app is like the mail app, where you get lists of messages and you press one, and then it goes down into the view of the single message, and you can do things and reply and things like that. And a page-based is where you're swiping through pages and you see the dots on the bottom of the screen. So hierarchical is good for complex app interactions. Page is good for really simple. And you want to keep the number of pages as small as possible because a user is not going to swipe through 10 pages on their watch. You can't combine those two styles, so you have to choose which one you want at the beginning. Then we're going to go through some kind of components that you can use. So labels, as you might expect, you can have alignment on them. So this is just showing you all the different kinds of things you can do with labels. So left, center, and right alignment. Then you can have a large line height. And then you can have text that spans into multiple lines on the bottom there. Buttons, some things about buttons, they have something called a platter. So that's actually the background with rounded corners. And you can set the background color and you can use images. And if you have buttons on the screen, you usually want to make sure that they are the same size so that it's very clear that these are the types of actions that you can take. Switches we saw, you can turn them on, off, and they can be disabled or enabled. Sliders are kind of interesting. They're more like incremental things. So there's a there's a plus button and a minus button, and when you press it, it affects the graph in the middle. And you can replace those plus and minus buttons with images. So you see there the smiley face and the frowny face. Oh. 1 second. Hey, Irvi, can you confirm that the video feed is live? It's live. You can you see this? No. What does it look like? Okay. And Tosh, can you tell them to go to hackathon.watch? Yeah. And tell them refresh the page. Okay. So table views, you can put things of varying sizes inside of a table view, and you see it handles it well. So you see that the images here are different sizes, and that's okay. In general, you probably wouldn't want to do that, but this just shows you that it can handle that. And you can see something with kind of button interaction on the right side, where we have like a to-do list kind of thing. You saw images with Natasha, but an image view can be displayed, and you can control how rounded the corners are. And the map view can be displayed. And for the map view, you want to be careful. You don't want the map view itself to take up more than a single page, because that would confuse the user if they're trying to scroll in the map and scroll the page at the same time. And you can also use custom pins. So in this case, they put a B for the pin instead of the normal green one. And if you're giving directions, the guidance that Apple has is you want green to be start, red to be the finish, and a purple to be a point along the way. You can have special labels for both timers and dates, and you can choose how you want them to be formatted. And the watch will it will count down for you, so you don't need to be updating the label, every second as the countdown's going. It will actually do that for you. So that works both for like a countdown and also for a date. So if you just want to show like the current time, you can do that, and it'll display it for you. So next, let's talk about that force touch. So if you press down hard on the screen, it'll bring up a contextual menu. Your app doesn't have to implement this, but it can. And if it does, you can see you can display between 1 and 4 buttons. And those buttons are just an alpha-based PNG image for the icon, and then a label that they can play. So this would be for the music app. And Apple has some guidance about what you want those to look like. So between 4 and 8 pixel strokes, and for the 2 different size iPhones, so the 38 mm. So the small one on the left and the larger one on the right, use a slightly bigger image for the larger one, and a slightly bigger stroke. No. So if this has any colors or anything, it's only using like the alpha channel of the PNG to display it. So it doesn't matter what color it is; it's just going to look black and white. So then we have glances, and as you can see, these are a couple of glances about what you have left to do today, and then the weather glance. And remember, those are single-page screens that you get to by swiping up from the bottom of the phone, and you can go through all your different apps that have glances available. And when you tap on a glance, it takes you to the larger app where you could do more things. You can pop up modal windows, so this can add kind of some cool interactivity in your app. And On the left, we have a single image and a button there. And then on the right, we have a paged modal window, so you can swipe through different things. And then you'll see in the upper left, it says cancel or close, so you can actually control what that button says that would dismiss the modal view. Notification, Natasha mentioned the short look. So let's say that in this case, we've got an app photo dot and a new photo has been posted. And so you feel a tap on your wrist and you pull up your watch to look at it, and this is the short look that you see. You just get the icon for the app, the title, so that's new photo, and then the app name. The app name is using the key color for your app, and you set that, and then the Apple Watch kind of smartly uses that color around in different places. And then so if you keep your wrist held up, then you'll get to see the long look, and this is what that looks like. So in this case, we've got a photo, we've got a description for the photo, and then we've got a couple of buttons that we could actually do comment or favorite this, and then finally dismiss it, and that'll just take the notification away. Jonathan mentioned that the animations are kind of interesting because you could have, so this is in case a loading indicator, and so there are 360 images that are all just moving 1 pixel at a time all the way around the circle, and that's how you make a loading indicator. So get used to doing that for notifications. I mean for animations. Yes.
Can you reuse some of the that
Yes, so I imagine that in the very near future there will be people who are building tools that will make these kind of images for you, and you'll just be able to pull them into your project. But yeah, in Xcode right now you can't generate that. What'd you say? I think maybe it's because of the internet speed, yeah. So the watches, there's 2 sizes, and they have 2 different resolutions. So 272 by 340 for the smaller one, and 312 by 390 for the larger one. And I have those pixel dimensions on that that blog post with all the design resources, so you can look that up. And generally, you probably don't want to worry about that too much because some of the guidance that Apple says is you want to use a black background for your app, and you only want to put content in there that is providing something. And you don't want to use like large image backgrounds because that makes the watch look kind of funny. By using a black background and taking up, you can see that the back button is all the way to the edge of the screen. And Apple actually wants you to make things that are all the way to the edge of the screen because the border that's around for the physical hardware provides all the border you need. You don't need to create your own border for your interface. And then you should use colors that are bright and then strokes that are about the same width as the text that you're displaying there so that you can easily see it. So this, in the case, is a calendar view. So as you can tell on the home screen, the icons have no labels, and so that, number 1, means that your icon needs to be instantly recognizable. It might not be the same as the icon for your iPhone app because your Apple Watch app could be something that's really focused. And I don't think there's any examples here, but for example, like you can use your Apple Watch as a camera viewfinder. Oh, there it is. So it's in the upper right-hand corner there. So you see that you see a piece of the camera and an arrow pointing to the shutter. And that means you can look at your watch and see what your phone sees, and then press a button and it takes a picture. So that'd be great for group photos. So think about if you want your app icon for your watch to be the same as what you're using for your iOS app on the phone or not. So that's it for design for WatchKit. Any questions?
Change the color, like
Yes. The question was, where do you change the key color for the app? And I can't show that now, but we will definitely make that available in the Developing for WatchKit resource. All right. Well, thank you guys. And now we'll have a couple minutes to transition, but then Jonathan will come up and show us advanced tools. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you need to get me back on the sharing?
Yes. So I sent you an email. Can you get on your email?
Oh. Put the new link. Sorry.
I know. Just like forgot.
Today's been on since Tuesday. That means I'm just sort of on Monday. So these will all be like old hat next Friday. Anyway, and I had a few links to resources, but we covered that. Let me just jump. Sort of actually where this came from as being labeled advanced is if you watch the Apple video that they released, they had at the end they had an interesting little slide that said advanced tips, and then they had all the stuff that I wanted to do, and that's how they stopped. So the goal here is to take this a little further, say, okay, here's how to do some of this stuff, and some of it we'll be able to get into, some of it we're still figuring out. But mostly we want to talk about images and talking between the server, the host app, and the extension. We already talked about mutation videos, and Natasha gave us a little example of the table use. We'll do that. Okay. So first, let me talk about images on the app, and we talked about this a little with the Q&A before. The images in the Watch app, they're interesting. So there's 3 different places where you can put these image views, or put image data, or image views. There's the Watch app itself. So you can put an image in the, in your bundle, and it gets put onto the watch, and the app is installed onto the watch. That's the most efficient way to do it. It's, put there, and it's great. The watch apps also have their own individual image caches. These are, you can add images to the cache from the extension dynamic. You can actually, and then you can just send data over to the app to a particular image, and it will actually cache it at the same time. So sort of 3 different ways to get an image in there, and we'll show a little bit of this. So the images, they can be JPEGs or PNGs, not animated. We do the animation by setting multiple images at once. So to animate them, like we talked about, you give them a number. It can actually start with 0 or 1, which I think is kind of fascinating. Like it's not required to start with something, but it does have to have a number, and then we'll put them all in sequence. And then on the WK interface image objects, so this is an outlet that you'll set in your extension to have access to this image. There's methods start animating, and start animating with images in range, duration, repeat. If you want to just do like a subset of some things. So you can animate stuff, and you can just set stuff too. If you have a UI image, just an arbitrary UI image that you've got in your extension, you can send that across as well. So you can set these things dynamically. And that's actually what we'll take a look at in just a second. The image cache that it has, if you don't want to just choose an image from the call set image name, set image name will look in the cache or in the bundle already. So you can put it in there or you can put it in the cache. To use the cache, there's this class WK interface device, and it has a singleton object current device, which gives you access to things like the screen resolution and the width and height of the screen, as well as the image cache. It's a clever way of saying it. I don't remember what else is in it. But anyway, it has a method add cached image called min, and so you can call that add an image to the cache. So it's kind of interesting that this method is on the device, not on an image view. So if you're just looking at web files like I do, you might not see it at first glance. And then afterwards, you just use that cache image the same way. It will automatically manage the cache. You can also get rid of images that you know are in there yourself if you want. So if you want to dynamically, I didn't put my code in. Sorry. I'll show you the code snippet I would put in, but it's fairly easy on iOS to generate an image dynamically. You can create an image context. You can create an image context and draw into it, and then grab the UI image from the context. So let me give you a little bit of a demo. Ben, I'll probably need your help here. So we're going to go back to our Hello Hackathon app, and I did a couple minor modifications to this. Basically, I added an image. So let me show you the new storyboard. It's got an image down at the bottom, and then I added an outlet over into my extension code for that image. So we're just going to set it up so we can change that image when we need to do it. Now let's add a couple images into the app. You can actually put an image in the extension or the app. If you put it in the extension and you load it up, it'll get sent over to the app. But we're going to put it in the app because that makes sense. So I'm going to go here and just add a new image set, and I'm going to call this lamp, and then I happen to have a lamp image handy. It's kind of dark, but we'll...
Let me make a comment right here. You'll notice that he put the image in the 2x spot. On Apple Watch, you only use 2x images, so you don't need to make 1x or 3x. Always use 2x.
Yeah, it took me 3 tries to figure that out. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's go back to the interface controller. And then down here where switch is called. Let's say self dot, and it was bottom image, set image, and you'll see here it's got image data. That's one way to send image data dynamically across Bluetooth to the app, and then set image named. And so we're going to use set image names, and we should just be able to say lamp, and we'll cross our fingers and give this a shot. Jump over to the simulator, and unable to find image name to lamp on watch. Okay, so I actually don't know why it did that. And to be honest, I did what? It's right here. It's not because of capitalization, is it? That's worth trying. It is. Okay, so we just determined that the watch app file system is space sensitive. Okay. Okay. So I'm gonna stop. Okay, Natasha, would you like to show the table views? Is that cool? Okay. Geez, maybe we should switch. I don't know. Should we talk about prompts first? For the switching the screen.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, let's take a 2-minute break, and we'll come right back.
2 minutes. But they're right here. But they're not going.
What's up?
Are you sharing the screen?
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you go to this main entry point, and then you go to that first option, you can see that you cannot change your colors. You can see the change to the Another trick is you must have a title for your view controller, which is over here. So both of them need a title for it to show up. But and I'm just going to show how to make a table view. So this is something that looks very familiar if you're an iOS developer. This is a table view of minions. And when you click on each cell, you can get a detailed view of each minion. So it's pretty simple, but it's actually really different to do a table view, or it's not actually a table view, it's a table interface. So there's no views in WatchKit. So the first step is you would just drag a table element onto the screen. And when you do that, you'll see there's this minion table row controller. And a table row controller is basically your each row, and it's an NS object, so it's actually not a controller. Or I guess it is, but in my case, I hooked up my cell, which is a row controller. Has an image and a label, and in this group, which is kind of like a container view, but not a view. And so this is each row is represented by this table row controller, which is actually an NS object. So once you have that hooked up in your interface controller, you would have in your init method a maybe a little table data, or you can just keep it there. But the first thing is you set the number of rows. In my case, I'm using like minions array as a data source, so I'm just getting a number of minions from our array, and I give it a row type, and the row type is a minion table row controller. And so you can have multiple rows, and then I iterate through all my minions with the index in place, and I get the row from the table, because we just set the number of rows. And then for each row, which is my table row controller, I can now set the image and set the types. So it's very simplified, a little confusing also if you're coming from iOS. And that's pretty much it. This populates just the populate state manager table or not a table. Yeah, so WK table. And as you can see, the sizing and all that stuff that you usually have to deal with, type for row and stuff, it's all it's all based kind of on the row, and it's all done for you. You just have to figure out what the data is. And then, of course, the next step is when you click on the row, you want to go to the next item, and you want to pass information around. So that happens in a subway, so similar like for your subway, there's context for subway identifier, and at this point you return the context object. So when the user clicks on the row, I figure out which minion name is there, and then I return it back. And that is kind of weird, but on the next view controller that shows me the detailed view of each minion, the init method has this context argument. That is what's returned. So when you create a segue and pass in context, the next view controller can access that object that you passed in its init. And in this case, I now make sure that the minion name is there, that it's a string, and now I set the text and the image. Does that make sense? It's kind of confusing. And then another thing I wanted to show quickly is the menu. So Ben mentioned you can do a force touch, which is just holding it, and now you can see it in the interface. So that's also slightly weird, but you can basically just drag a menu. So you can drag this menu onto your view controller or onto your interface controller, and you can specify how many items. Even though you can keep going and say like there's 7, it will only display up to 4, so you can't really trick it. And then each item comes with, you can have a title, and then there's default buttons, or you can have a custom image if you want to. In my case, play. And then finally, if you need to add those menu items in code, you can do it in your interface controller. There's a method called add menu item icon, and in this case, I'm just adding the new form, and then you just add selector that is in call. So you can do both in code and the interface story. Notice that you cannot see the menu at any point in the storyboard. You have to run the app and force touch to see it, unless someone has a secret way of seeing it. Any questions?
Did you show the making a key color?
Yeah.
Feature.
How you force touch? Yeah, I guess you can't see it. You just keep holding. You just keep pressing the mouse. I think someone. Yep. Yeah. So the custom images, you would just say custom, and then you would specify it. I think as Ben mentioned, it'll still, you have to have that color. And it'll show up in the circle. So you're just showing the little icon at the title. I think Ben wanted to see how to do the global tint color again. That is in the main entry point at the start, and there's a global tint. So you can change it here, and then you have to make sure you have the name, the title of the color set, so then it shows up. If I delete this, it disappears. Yeah, and it's actually weird because on the detail one, it's actually the title, but it looks, if you're used to the iOS part, it's usually showing you what's before, but it looks like this is the title and not the back. Yeah, so this Minions is actually the title of this interface controller, not what the last screen is.
What will you publish this code? Or something like that.
Yeah.
What's your question?
What does the global tint type?
So the global tint, when you see a notification from the app, then the app name will be displayed in that color. And do you know of any other places that it's used?
Oh, you said the push notification
Yeah.
and the title of the push notification and title of the app. I just found out about this. I don't know if there's other places.
You show in your background.
The table view one is, I haven't done the global tint blog post, but if you're going to touch the robot, there's have the table and then have the cascade.
Yeah. Thanks, Natasha.
Okay, so let's finish up the whatever we're doing, demos with talking about post-app extension communication. I'm just going to bring up this slide. Probably not good. So, as we mentioned, there's a couple different ways to communicate between these things. And actually, it all kind of goes through the same facility, which is this shared container that exists between the app and its the extension and its host, I should say. So there's, in order to use it, you need to set up these app groups, which I'll talk about briefly. It's very easy to use, and it's actually been there for a while on iOS. And then I'll show you a little snippet of how to use it as user defaults to send information very simply back and forth between the extension and the app. Talk a little bit about how you do some more complicated stuff, which I'm still learning about. But so the app groups, if you open up your project settings and you go over to capabilities, and that's where you enable things like Game Center and Passbook and all those different random things. One of those things is app groups, and that lets you set up this shared area to share data not just between your extension and your app, but actually between other apps as well. So While I haven't verified, someone asked a question, can you share data between a watch app extension and multiple apps? I think the answer might be yes, but until I see it for sure, I don't know. But it seems like this is the same mechanism that you would use. Now, what you have to do is you have to turn these things on, and then you have to enter a group name. The group name has to be related to your identifier. Or actually, maybe I shouldn't say that so much, but you have to go in and in the provisioning profile, you have to add this entitlement into your app ID, which then modifies your provisioning profile and make sure it's all in there. Xcode will actually do all this for you. You can actually go there, enter this string, and hit a button, and it'll, instead of having checks, it'll have a little exclamation mark. You can say this issue. If you have a developer account and you have internet access and all that, it should go up and fix this. At least in my experience so far, it's done it right a few times I've done it. You have to set it on both the extension and the app. So, there are two different binaries, there are two different compile things. So you have to go and set it in both places. And then you're probably going to use it in code. And so you have to make sure that the group in code is the same as the name of the entitlement file. Otherwise, it doesn't work. So here's just a little sample code. Most of you, if you've done iOS programming, have used essential defaults to grab defaults. And you probably just use the standard, the defaults, the shared defaults. There's actually a nice constructor on it, and you give it a suite name, and then you give it the name of your app group. And that will let you share defaults between the host and the app. And defaults is kind of the wrong way to think about it. What you're not really sharing defaults. It's kind of another mechanism for communication. In this user defaults, you can put objects in there, you put strings in there, objects, dictionaries, that sort of thing. So it's pretty handy for that. The same thing with the app group you can use for arbitrary files. So you could put a user default file in there and access it with the user defaults API. You could also just put regular files in there. So you could actually have, say, a log file that the host app writes out, and then the WatchKit extension, when it sees something change on it, you can load up a different, different label or something like that, or a different image onto the watch. You could, put images on here, put images taken from the web or something like that, which then the WatchKit extension would send over to the cache of the watch and then display on watch. So this is kind of the mechanism you use to get stuff from out there, GPS data or health information or anything like that onto the watch. Whether you do it through a file, through a user document, user defaults, that's sort of up to you. So setting up to share again, you use the init C name. Let me give you a little demonstration. And I've got this code up on GitHub. It's called riskcomms. And okay, let me make sure I'm using it. So this is fairly simple. I'm going to run the watch app. And we have to run the host app as well. But we'll run that in a simulator. So here's the, I realize you can't see the top of my screen. So I keep forgetting to switch over to the simulator. Here we go. Okay, so very basic app. It's got a label. We can update it, we can change it. If I click update, it's going to actually read from NS user defaults and change the label. This is the load message code that you can actually see right behind me there. So it's going to load this up and load up whatever is in there. Do it, and there's loader. So and then we can actually change that. And what we actually might do, just because I like to do this sort of thing, is let's go into the organizer, and we're going to go to riskcomms. We're going to go into the derived data folder. This is where Xcode puts all its build products. So we're opening up the derived data folder, and we're going to look in, I don't know if it's in here or not, actually. Actually, it's you know, I forgot. It's not in the drive data folder. I forgot where it puts the stuff that it wants. Okay, so we'll skip that part. I wanted to show you the actual file that it stores on disk with that data in it, which you can go and muck with these things. So that's one of the ways you can kind of figure out what's going on. Anyway, let's go ahead and run RISC-COMS on the phone. And now I'm going to go and I say I'm not going anywhere. Okay, it's so fast now. And so I'm going to go ahead, and when I hit done, it's going to actually write it to the user defaults. And then if I go over here and I hit update, it actually shows up over on the device. So this is how you get code from your host app over to the device, and you can do it vice versa as well. So the same code, you're actually using the same code, setting up a NS user defaults from the suite and setting an object on both sides. I think actually, well, I'll stop this part right there. Now one thing I tried, NS user defaults has a notification mechanism where you can subscribe to notifications, so when it changes, you get a little, it calls a selector on your object and you can do something. I've been playing with that. I haven't gotten it to work yet, so I'm not sure if that's an extension thing or if I haven't just done the code right yet. So I'm just going to say that that's out there. Whether or not that will work, it may just be a bug in the SDK, it may be a bug in my code, or it may not be possible. Finally, another thing you might want to do is monitor a single file. There's a couple different ways to do that on iOS. So sort of the preferred one is use these classes, NS file version, NS file presenter, NS file formatting. Many of you have done any iCloud programming. These are what iCloud uses underneath all the UI document, UI document stuff to do all of its work, making sure that stuff stays in sync with the iCloud user's copy of the file. So these things, they're a little involved, and it's been a while since I dug in them, so I didn't get a chance to bring them back up. But they'll work for looking, this is what Apple recommends actually for monitoring files on the watch. They actually call that out in the WatchKit application. You can also use GCD for instance, dispatch types and methods for observing some of this stuff. And so we actually set up last night, my colleague Jimmy and I set up something where, let's see, let me switch over, where we could we could make changes on the watch, save it, cause a file to be changed in the extension, and through GCD we observe those things being modified. By the way, here's the code to make an image and send it over by lines. Don't worry about it. This is kind of my kitchen sink app where I'm playing with everything. You'll be able to tell that when I run it, because it sort of looks like this. By the way, so this thing on the bottom, I'll just call out. I've been trying to figure out how to overlay images on top of each other to do different things. So this is actually a group, and a group lets you contain controls together. And I've set a background image on it, and then I put an image on top of it. I think I actually put two images. I put another group with an image on it. And so there's two groups with two different background images, and then a third image, and they all kind of composited them together. So there's some things you can do. Maybe that's a way to get like an interesting watch face or something like that. And let's see, what I wanted to do was over here, watch 1. So every time I flip the switch, it's actually going to write to a file. Let me jump down to the code. So it's actually doing some old school C, maybe a long time since some of you saw that saying, but we pulled it out. And it just writes a few bytes out to a file so that every time we flip this switch, it doesn't do anything. Okay, I could try it once more. Well, it did it last time. If you're interested, come on up and show me. Or come on up and talk to me. It working before, but time before that it didn't work. So it's printing. Yeah, well, that's because it's the extension. Oh, it's printing the. Oh, you know what I can do? Okay, since Natasha's open. Okay, so this is actually how I found this directory. This is the directory that has the shared container in it. Good old 9026F7B8. So I'm just going to delete that log file, and then I think if I rerun the app, it will work okay. I think there's a little permissions issue that I'm diagnosing. So here's the watch one, and then oh, it's not doing it yet. But oh, you know why it's not doing it? Because the file has to exist before watch one starts. There we go. Okay. Ah, this should be better. There we go. Okay. So this is actually, interestingly enough, sort of the opposite. We're making the watch sort of separated from the phone. Not really, but kind of. So it's possible to do all this stuff. It takes a bunch of hoops to jump through, which is the bad news, but should get better over time. So I think, yeah. This is the index. Yeah, I know it's the index. No, so okay. So the question is this: this group here, this group is containing multiple widgets. Can you change the z index of it? Which on iOS, what part of the layer is on, or what where in the layer stack it is, I should say. No, you have no control or anything like that. So you can't change the position, you can't change the size, and actually you can't change the width of things. Check this out. Oh, I think actually the code's disabled, I think. Yeah, I did have something. You can change the width and the height of a control. You can't change the position as far as I can tell. Yeah, around that way animating. And that's what I was looking for here, setting different background images and stuff like that. So right now you're still pretty limited. It's going to be flipping between different images. How we can get animations. All right. Yes, all right. Here, back to the Ben.
All right, so as I mentioned, tutorials on Ray Wenderlich, and you can see that he's got a video tutorial series here started. So that would be, oh,
You
yes,
can't see that at all.
you can't see it yet. So, as I mentioned, raywenderlich.com, and there's some video tutorials there that you could go through. Another thing that I wanted to show is on our website, hackathon.watch, at the bottom of the page, we have a few links. We've got what is WatchKit, the Media Kit, and the Contact Us. You know, those are really useful, especially the FAQ, where I've tried to keep all the questions that people have been asking and any more details about the hackathon on here. We've even had a quick code of conduct that we put on there. Basically, it applies to our speakers, our sponsors, and our attendees. We don't want anybody to feel uncomfortable and welcome at our event or in the community at large. So if you have any problems, send me an email and we'll deal with it in a very professional manner, and we'll make sure that everything gets sorted out. Want to be very clear, everyone is welcome, everyone should be able to participate, and we don't want to have anything happen where people feel like they need to go away. I have been sending emails to the attendees over time, and so you can actually look at the full collection of what I've sent to the attendees. In case you signed up just today, you might not have gotten the previous emails. And we've got plenty of tutorials and questions that people are asking. So the prizes, so we came up with a few, kind of a unique way of doing prizes. I don't like first, second, and third, and I don't like you know, some kind of big fancy prize, especially since we're living on the bleeding edge. So the goal is to come up, what can we do to encourage people to build cool things? So the prizes we're gonna have 4 that are given by the judges, and then 1 by the audience. The 4 that are given by the judges is the best use of glances, the best use of notifications, and the best app. And then the judges can either choose the most technically impressive or the best user experience. And let me just say that the best use of glances and notifications might not be something you can expect. I mean, you could come up with some kind of cool game that's using glances or notifications. Maybe like some kind of a flashcard thing with notifications. So it doesn't have to be kind of the standard stuff that you might think of. I wanted to go over, can we bring code to the hackathon? You can use open source code in the hackathon. But you shouldn't have built something before and just bring that in. That's not how hackathons work. You should be working on code there. And if you want to use some code that's kind of proprietary, then let me know, and I'll make it available to all the attendees on the FAQ so that way they have access to it as well. So that much is that. We will be opening the doors at 9:30 a.m. tomorrow at Hacker Dojo, which is in Mountain View. If you're coming from the city, the Caltrain leaves at 8:15 here and gets there at 9:30, so then you can just get from the Caltrain station in Mountain View to Hacker Dojo, no problem. And any questions on all of that information?
Can I come after 9:30?
Yes, you can come after 9:30. I will be getting started talking at 10 a.m., and so I'll give a quick intro, and then we'll have idea pitches there, and then everybody will split up into teams and start hacking.
Can you access the internet?
Yes. So I mean, we'll have Wi-Fi at the hackathon. Do you mean like during your presentation or something? Yeah, during the hackathon you'll have Wi-Fi, fast internet. No? Okay. Yeah, go.
I just want to call out the Capital One folks back there who did a great job setting up this place and getting the space reserved for us.
Yes. Yeah. So thank you all for coming out. I know that this was a whirlwind session. It's a whirlwind for all of us. I also wanted to mention that we'll be posting updates to the Happy Watch blog Twitter account. So twitter.com/happywatchblog. And we've been posting updates kind of every hour, and you can see Natasha posted an update there. And so that's kind of our mechanism of getting information out to the community. So if you have any questions, check there, and that'll have the latest status of what we're working on.
Lindsay has one announcement.
Before everyone leaves, again, wanted to say thank you so much for coming. We're super excited to have you in our space. A couple of things before you leave. One is there is a dolly back there where she'll be pointing to it right in the back there. So there's a dolly back there. If you could use a new chair, just fold up your own chair, put it there before you leave. Another thing is downstairs, just got